Okay. My name is Donnie Holland. I'm from Cadiz. I have a message from Michael Pate. Please don't count that against my seconds here. It's going to take me about 30 seconds to read what he sent to me just a little while ago. First of all, I'm filling in for County Judge Executive Hollis Alexander, who desperately wanted to speak here, but a conflict with his date made it impossible, so he asked me to be his proxy and express his concerns, but also express his appreciation for conducting these meetings to start with. Now, Michael Pate, turn off the clock for 30 seconds. Michael Pate called last night and asked me to express his regrets to everyone that he could not be here due to a scheduling conflict said earlier, also, but may make the meeting later tonight. He also said that Congressman Whitfield is in Washington participating in a vote tonight and had planned to attend the public meetings, but this date did not work for him either. He said to express their strong support for this process and that they are in support of all of us working together to resolve the long-term issues being raised about the future of the LBL and hopes to attend future meetings. Okay, Judge Alexander is very deeply concerned about the direction the LBL is going. There are positives: the home place, the nature center, the planetarium, the Wranglers area, but there are extraordinary and disturbing negatives taking place. Judge Alexander is a member of and ardent supporter of the coalition to save the land between the lakes. It's a very large coalition of concerned users and your customers, we might add. Judge Alexander, not a native of Between the Rivers, has come to feel that the heritage and culture of the people whose land was violently stolen from them by a rogue and out-of-control federal agency is not being adequately addressed. It is time to break down the myths, barriers, and fears and formally and publicly acknowledge the unique culture and finally get permission to, through private donations, to preserve the several historic buildings before they deteriorate further, and there are several. These artifacts can be saved if you let us do the work, as we have requested many times, no cost to the Forest Service. We need to end the common term used about the heritage situation from your side. That term is, if you give them an inch, they will want a mile. I've heard that many times about us from Between the Rivers. That is commonly used by your side and is an insult. We could say, probably, that if we give Forest Service an acre of forest to destroy, they'd probably destroy 10. He desires an end to that attitude and, in a real sense, preserve the unique and interesting heritage that so many people are curious about by establishing a permanent heritage center that has been discussed for 35 years. Furthermore, this land was not stolen by the TVA to be abused. It is being abused today by the Forest Service. It was not stolen for that reason. The Forest Service was viewed as a sort of savior when the TVA was summarily kicked out of Between the Rivers in 1999. They were the original demons. But we as citizens and taxpayers now are very, very disappointed in your behavior and your willingness and eagerness to destroy the precious forest resource through what we now know is very faulty and self-serving science. You were given in the plan 10 years ago 8,600 acres to prove the old grassland, the burning, the timber cutting would work, to prove, and then from your own executive summary that Wade highlighted, eventually to grow that to 129,000 acres, very clear in your executive summary. This science has proven faulty in those areas. 10 years in and 8,600 acres is basically a disaster of briars, weeds, thickets. You have no data, no proof on the ground that this will work at all. Thus, Judge Alexander is asking the same fundamental question that Congressman Whitfield asked when he was here. Why are you venturing off to 8,600 into Lyon County, cutting hundreds of acres of timber, displaying those huge signs that's showing the Garden of Eden scenes when you know this is a false representation? Why are you outside the 8,600 demonstration area? why Congressman Whitfield wants to know why you're outside the 8,600 acres that you're supposed to use to demonstrate these areas. No one without a financial interest wants the LBL to become 8,600 acres, like the 8,600 acres of briars, weeds, and impassable thickets. Judge Alexander does not accept the answer that we just don't understand, that we need to be communicated with more. We understand clearly and can see the evidence. After giving the Forest Service a free hand for 10 years and seeing the failure of the demonstration areas. Judge Alexander, let me emphasize, does not want those policies implemented in any additional forested portion of land between the lakes. No, thank you. He's worked with the coalition to develop the 8,600 plan. We are formally asking you to work with us together as a team to write a new management plan now. On our 8,600 document are 8 positive points. There's not time to read those. We think will improve and preserve the LBL long term with your help. Please see it online or take one of the brochures. The money the Forest Service is spending on burning and logging would be better served making it a positive place for your customers. Roads, campgrounds that have long been deteriorated, neglected. Finally, Judge Alexander and I are both members of the NWTF, strong members. I'm a member of the Kentucky League of Sportsmen and the Friends of LBL. Many of us from those organizations are supporters of the 8,600 plan for LBL. Our plan offers thousands of acres of overgrown farms, including 700 acres that belong to my family, that we would like to see used for habitat improvement and improved hunting so that we have better hunting too when I get into retirement here soon. But he wants what's left of the forest left alone. It has been hammered for 50 years. Since the TVA took over, timber has been cut here, going out of style. It's the only goal that the TVA hit in their heady days when they ran us all off. The only thing that they managed to hit was the timber cutting goals before they were thrown out of the land between the lakes. We would like for you to work with us all to work on the new document, the new area plan. We'd like to work with you. All of us that have a love for the LBL look forward to working with you. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you for being more open and cooperative than any other management team has that's had control of the LBL in its 50-year history so far. Thanks very much.
Thank you, David. It's an honor to be here with you. I appreciate the chance to speak to you. My speech is going to be very brief. I'm State Representative Gerald Watkins from Paducah. My dad, born in Lyon County, lived, and his family lived in the land between the rivers and was forced out like everyone else, like most of y'all here, your families. When TVA came up with their 5 concepts for development in the LBL, we formed Concept Zero. Influence of Concept Zero persuaded Congress to take the LBL away from the TVA and give it to the U.S. Forest Service. Now, the logging and clearing by the U.S. Forest Service is creating a real eyesore, not to mention all the other problems that others have alluded to. I drove many miles in the LBL this past Saturday just to see what had been done, and may I say, it looks like crap. All we want is for the U.S. Forest Service to honor the original promise and intent for the LBL. If the U.S. Forest Service can't or won't do that, it's time for concept no logging or clear cutting. Maybe it's time to take the LBL away from the U.S. Forest Service. Give it to someone who will respect and honor its heritage. Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to open this up to the public as a whole. Let me caution you though, folks. Our purpose is to explore and to understand, not to incite and not to demonstrate. To understand, we need to find answers. And that's what we hope everyone here will help us do. Now, your turn.
Were you inciting Judge White a while ago?
Yeah.
I believe you were.
This young lady is trying to keep up basically with what's being said. I don't know how she's going to do that, but she is. Be sure, if you will, if you'll repeat your name, any affiliation that you have, and if you have a particular topic about which you're concerned, share that so that we can categorize this material and make it available to you after our meeting is over. Okay.
My name is Darrell Fulgham. I live in Simpsonia, Kentucky. I've been living in Kentucky 30 years this week. I had no intention of speaking tonight, but I think if you're going to quote the Forest Service or anybody else, you ought to do it correctly. Mr. White said something to the effect of the difference between a oak grasslands and an oak hickory forest is 10 or 12 trees per acre. I believe that what the Forest Service said, or what Mr. Wilson says, was 30 to 40 feet of basal area is a grassland, oak grassland. Does anybody here know what basal area is? You do? What is basal area, sir?
It's the amount of 46,560 acres of an acre of land that's actually covered by the diameter of a tree. And sure, oak hickory forest, that's usually around.
Let me share this with you. I don't think people can hear you. Just a second. You can respond to this. Yeah, you can run into it.
Okay. There are 45,560 square feet of each acre of land.
I'll get to it. You gotta get right into it.
I'm not used to being an entertainer. There are 45,560 square feet of area in any acre of land. If you were to cut a tree off and measure the square acreage that the diameter of that tree represents, that's the basal area. In a mature oak hickory forest, you would expect that's well managed. It's got to be well managed. But it would have around 60 square feet of basal area per acre.
Okay?
How many trees per acre is that, sir? How many trees per acre is that? It can
Well, there's someone else that wanted to
be. 60
respond to
trees,
that.
there's 204.
He said 60.
Yes, exactly. You can't say how many trees is in so many square feet. If there's 6-inch trees, there's 204 trees in 40 feet of basal area. If they're 10-inch trees, there's
Did you want to answer this question? Did you have your hand up?
So you're saying basal area is 60, that's on the 10. A lot of this stuff's being put in shelter with no reserve.
Sir, I didn't say that. That's what the Forest Service said. I'm just trying to say that there's a lot of difference between 40 square foot of basal area and 40 trees per acre. It's not even comparable. It's not even apples to oranges. It's apples to elephants. And I'm sure you're aware of that. I don't have a degree in political science or anything like that. I have 35 years of experience with a timber company. I feel like I've come to a gunfight with a knife. I'm here with science or with experience. Most people here are here with their heart. And I understand I understand that nobody wants to have their land taken away from them until they've got to leave. And I don't believe that any agency that had LBL would satisfy some of the people. I agree with you. To me, LBL is a wonderful place. When I moved here 30 years ago, it was a place, I lived just across the road here when then. I could go over here with my kids, we camped, we hunted, we fished, we hiked. It's a great place. But just like any other thing, just like your garden, you want to take out the weeds, you don't want to plant your corn and it come up in cocoa burrs. You want to handcuff the Forest Service and tell them the methods they can use. This is what we want you to do, and this is how we want you to do it. On private land, you cut timber. I believe that some of the people here talking tonight against it have burned their own land for wildlife habitat. But they don't do it they don't want it to happen at LBL. Why is that? That's all I've got. I think if you're going to quote the Forest Service, quote them accurately.
Let me ask you to state your name again, the rest of the one.
What kind of business is he?
I'm reluctant to do that. My name is Darrell Fulton.
Who's your employer?
Darrell Moore.
Who's your employer?
I work for the paper mill.
The paper mill. Thank you.